back to part 7. I would like to say, thank you for liking the videos, thank you for subscribing, thank you for the kind comments. I must say, it keeps me going, and also I'm not a mechanic. This is the first time I've actually taken apart an MGB front suspension, and it's a learning curve for me. I'm not a mechanic, I'm a hobbyist, and I've got a general interest, but also of having a go. One of the things of classic cars is tinkering and actually trying to improve them, trying to mend them, restore them, maintain, I'm just going to say, thank you for all that. But I just want to remind people that I'm not a mechanic, and this is something I believe anybody can take on with a few tools. So let's continue with the video. Here I've cleaned up the disc. I've removed the rust from inside the best I can. I'm going to paint this part black. I do have some engine cylinder paint, which is high temperature. I've also stripped the rust off the front pipe exhaust bracket, what goes onto the gearbox. I need to find a piece of stripped metal to connect onto the exhaust. I've also cleaned up the hub, and what I'm going to do is remove the bearing runners. And again, this is the first time for me of removing a bearing, or bearing runners I should say, from a wire wheel hub, and then I'm going to try and set them up using a dial gauge. So wish me luck, and again, as I said at the beginning of the video, this is my first time. Welcome back. This is the part that I've been dreading, that I have to remove the bearing race. And if you just look down, you can see where I need to put my punch and drive out the race from the bottom of the hub, and then we have one here. So I'm sure I must have to chase out the bottom and then the top. So wish me luck. Well, that was fairly simple. Had to use a small drift for the small race, or the small bearing race, and use the large, lever handle, I'm going to call it, to drive out the bottom bearing race. But honestly, it was fairly easy. So now I need to clean and put the new ones in. Okay, bye for now. Success! I've got this bearing in, and if you just have a look, it's all the way to the lip. It's undamaged. Where I have been viewing on YouTube people putting, the runner into the hub and then damaging the surface. Well, at the end of the day, that's a waste of time because it's damaged. If you look down there, you can just see there the outer bearing, and again it's home. And if I turn it, you might be able to see this, but again it's undamaged. So that's good. I'm happy. That was one of the jobs I was dreading. I thought I would adjust the bearings off the car with my dial gauge. However, I can only find 2 shims, and it looks like I'm going to have to order this week coming a shim pack. So unfortunately I'm not going to get the bearing set up today, but I'm going to put together the other parts of the suspension. So next week it'll just be a matter of just setting their bearings up. Well, I've bought some longer bolts, as you can see here, maybe too long, but again, they do actually fill the nut. So let me put this together. We've got here everything what needs to connect to the car. So I'm going to put it all together, and it means I just need to fit it to the car. Well, that's another part assembled. It's all in there. I've used white marine grease, so that should keep the weather out, but also just keep it. Doesn't they don't really need lubricating, but the centers, the steel centers do, and the bushings should stay where they are. It should be the centers which just slowly rotate as the suspension is traveling. So it's all tightened up. You can see the long bolts that I fitted. I could chop them off, but really, do they really need to? So that's another part that can go onto the car today. So let's now look at cleaning up the spring. Well, that's the lower wishbone pan on, and as you can see, it's slowly going back together. So what I need to do now is I'm going to grease the kingpin and make sure the spring and everything's seated, and that'll be the final part. Well, it's been a productive day, and as you can see, I've got it all back together. It's just a shame that I couldn't set up the wheel bearing because of the shims. I would have had it all back together. So all I'm going to do now to finish with is just to put the dust cover on where the disc would sit, and then wait for the shims to be delivered. So again, I thought this would be the last video, I really did, but there's going to be one more. And as I said before, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking, and actually thank you for the kind words. But it's been a productive day, everything's back together apart from the wheel bearing. So bye for now, I should say.